Yeah.
So this is pretty much the world tour
Yeah.
of the house. I didn't think we'd actually get kicked out, but
But we did.
things happen. What you gonna do?
Lo and behold,
So,
here we are, evicted.
you might hear a little bit more of the highway without filter.
Right there.
So my bad.
Hey man, it's all good.
Elimination Chamber was rough on a lot of us. I'm Jared, by the way.
I'm Josh. Awesome to be here, man. Thank you, brother.
What's up? Happy late Valentine's Day.
Oh yeah.
Shout out to Frank Robinson. I forgot that last week. My man Frank Robinson. So tonight we had the Elimination Chamber, which, if you didn't watch it, you really didn't miss a whole heck of a lot, because it's pretty straight up predictable. Everything kind of happened the way people said it would. It's kind of show.
All of your non-Big Four, like real quick, I apologize. I'm gonna piggyback on your Frank Robinson sentiment because Frank is awesome.
I didn't mean to go just glance right over that.
No, shoot, no. I just wanted to throw in that Frank is my all-time dream Mitchell and Ness jersey. Used to be Brooks Robinson, but I think 20 looks way cooler. But man, I used to have the year down and everything. I would say probably 58 Baltimore Orioles jersey, man. Frank, I think somewhere in there. No, that might be too early. He might have been to Cincinnati then. Either way, first guy to win MVP in both leagues.
Yeah.
It's fascinating that the Reds traded him away and then became the Machine. That's one of those deals that worked out for everybody.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, the old Orioles road uniform, the gray that's the big 20 on the back. Frank
Yeah.
Robinson, my dream Mitchell and Ness jersey. If I was smart like John Cena, I would have become a rapper whose gimmick used to be to wear. I used to love when he wore that stuff because
that was when it was popping. That was when it was cool. That was like, oh man, this is going to be something interesting, and just didn't happen.
well, it's still a thing. It's just that white people don't care anymore. But they advertise a lot. They still do tons of cool stuff. But the baseball jerseys, I don't know how well they do. But anyway, the Orioles 20, that'd be awesome. Yeah. But anyway, real plug for Cena real quick, man. My favorite thing about that is that because you're getting them for work, you can write them off on your taxes. That's a smart thing.
Yeah.
Man, what a cool thing for him to think of. Like, God, that's awesome. And he had that freaking old UMass Dr. J, and I'm like, that thing was awesome. What a cool. That's cool.
Having one for every town you go to, and that'll get expensive quick.
Yeah.
That mid 2000s, early 2000s, those were like $200, $250.
Yeah, something like that. They were way up there. So being able to write them off for work is very smart, very cool.
Good thinking.
Yeah,
Good thinking.
that was super cool. Anyway, I didn't mean to get sidetracked. But I never say anything nice about John Cena because I don't like him. But I always loved that, so I wanted to give him proper credit for being smart.
That was back when, like, one of these days it's going to be him and Orton, and we got it way more than we thought we ever did.
And now, 15 years later, it's like, one of these days it's not going to be him and Orton. We're still waiting for him to turn the faucet off.
Please, God.
Yeah, for real.
Send me hell, God. Hell the size of
I'm an abomination. Kill me.
Man, there's really, as far as Elimination Chamber win, I mean, and it's kind of the norm going into Mania is like, man, nothing's going to change hands. And don't count the women's tag teams.
Yeah,
is changing hands because they just started.
It's first coronation.
So if you want to count that as something, at least that was what I was thinking. Even going into the shows, like, has that even been done before? A tag team Elimination Chamber match. And how are they going to do it? And when you watch it, you're kind of like, So they did it. So, but that was one of the things I thought was at least interesting about the show going into it. It's like, man, how are they going to do that with it being a tag team? And I guess it helps that it's the women's tag team, so they can both fit in there as far as the pods go. But other than that, it was kind of like, it's totally unnecessary to be in an Elimination Chamber. But since we got this contraption, we got to use it.
Yeah.
But nothing much to write home about. The one title that did change hands is Finn won the IC title.
That's good news.
But it's kind of like, was kind of the sentiment from the match and the crowd, because like, we told you this. This should have happened months ago.
Yeah, this should have been when he first got called up. I mean,
Yeah.
I hate to say that because the whole plan was universal,
Mhm.
and then that didn't work because of the injury. But it's
Yeah.
like, well, okay, like you said, instead of dragging your feet for these months, you could have done that.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of throwing the IC title at people that are. I just love it, like the whole. Well, John Cena put Kevin Owens in that one match at one time, and he'll live off of it forever, apparently. And he did, and that was real cool to have that
Yeah.
open challenge thing. But I always wanted them to build Miz World Tour, and I'm the man, and I'm going to be champ forever. And then his open challenge ends with either Joe or Nakamura debuting. And now it turns out that New Japan lifted that idea by throwing their IC title at Jericho. But that was our whole point, was that was he made that championship. So him coming over and getting the other Intercontinental strap, it seemed kind of cool. And if not, I would emulate Joe's title run in Ring of Honor. And don't get me wrong, I know they would have already done it in Ring of Honor, but sorry, ask CM Punk fans if WWE's okay with retreading and redoing CM Punk stories from Ring of Honor. Because, boy, they were. They redid the two huge ones. They redid the Raven story with Jeff Hardy, and they literally did Summer of Punk down to the letter. So it's like, that would have been cool. And I don't know, man. I'm just all bitter because I like Samoa Joe so much, and it just doesn't seem like they're ever going to do anything with him.
No.
I thought he should have come up and won the IC first thing, or he should be the guy to gut Lesnar.
Yeah.
One of the two.
That was there. It was there for one to do, and they said, nah.
Yeah,
not
for real, man.
you know what we need? We need the IC on Bobby Lashley.
That's what we need. Bobby Lashley, we gotta anchor him down.
Then Finn can get it. Like, why?
Well, this is stupid, man.
Yeah. Just so I mean that's the long and short of the show. I mean it's fine to turn on and check out if you want to. You just got to see it, but you can hit skip on that one for dang sure.
How did they do the women's tag match? Because I had an idea of what I don't think it's what they would do, but I had an idea of what I wanted them to do. I basically missed the show except the end. I got to see the men's Elimination Chamber and got to see Kofi take his victory genius lap.
Well, I guess one of the problems with that, it was kind of short and sweet.
That's crazy.
Maybe like I would guess 20 minutes, and that's with entrances.
Man.
But it ended up with Sasha and Bailey winning. And I think the last two, if I remember right, it was them and Riot Squad, which is kind of like, which had me kind of hope that, oh man, maybe they'll actually do it and put it on the Riots. And no, they didn't. But they just did the two girls in the pod, and they came out. But it kind of, once you saw the match, it kind of realized how kind of handcuffed it would be, because, you know, if one of the girls gets pinned and, you know, the team's eliminated.
Out,
so I kind of thought possibly maybe they would just have a representative from the team be in the pod and then have the other girl outside cheering them on, like, yeah! But they just put them both in there at the same time, which maybe that was the bad way to do it. Maybe next time that would be better, just to have a representative from the team be, you know, in the pause in the match, because it gets to be just too. To me, it felt like it's kind of like just too much.
See, that's what I was thinking. My idea, and don't get me wrong, because obviously, based on what you're telling me, they never would do this because it'd take a lot longer because you're not popping them every minute. But do like a genuine elimination match where it's two teams, and then one team has to be beaten first, then the next team comes out. Basically like gauntlet matches, but they're all out there in the little cages and whatnot. And I mean, I know it's different from the Elimination Chamber, but I'm totally with you. Like, if you're going to do straight Elimination Chamber style, man, you can have 10 people in there. You can't see anything when 5 folks are in there. If you got 10, it's like, man, y'all are just making this impossible for the camera crew, aren't you?
Yeah.
You know your money tonight, damn it. It's just like, darn, y'all.
And that was the other point that I know we had brought up before, seeing an Elimination Chamber match. When we saw it, it was hard enough when it was like circular. Now that they've made it the square, hopefully that's improved on being able to see in, and they put like some of the plexiglass in the corners, but still it's really not the easiest match to watch live. It's hard enough on camera.
Yeah, man.
But to see it live, it's kind of like, what's going on in
Yeah,
there?
you're really just watching a big cage, and every once in a while it'll shake a little bit.
Woo.
Yeah, it's a bummer. It's just like we talked about before, man. It's like,
Lights.
yeah, for like back in the day, man, I knew that everything that happened inside it hurt, and it's like, man, it just looks like such crap, and you feel bad people are killing themselves on this thing, and it just doesn't look good at all. Like, man, what a jib. That sucks that people are shortening their careers for this garbage.
It's really not that great.
Yeah, man.
But it wasn't, some improvements made to how the match can happen, but it still kind of stinks to where, like, I can't really tell what's happening in here. And, there's spots that people try to do that you think, oh, no, you can't do that. You're going to kill each other. Like, Daniel Bryan and Kofi going to do the superplex off the top of the thing, and once you go to that spot and you don't do it, you really look kind of crappy climbing down. Like, well, let's not do that.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what you do after that, for real. Like, well, okay, and I'm with you. But you can, teasing it's a problem because I get it. I don't want anybody to come off the top of that thing either. But it's like, just don't go there, man.
Yeah,
it's all good.
Don't even hint at that.
For real. It's strange to me that it's kind of appropriate that Elimination Chamber is right after the dunk contest because it's two entities. Everyone talks about the dunk contest is over, and they're right. I mean, there's nothing left you can do now. It's all down to props, and it's like, okay. In Elimination Chamber, I think it's the same way. Hell in a Cell, Elimination Chamber, it's very hard to come up with something people haven't already done in those.
Yeah.
But at least with Hell in a Cell, and I believe this, honest to God, if you get the right people and put them in there, just let them kill each other. And I mean, like, just have a match. You don't need to use the cage. You don't need to climb to the top. You don't need to throw anybody off it. It's none of that stuff. You could just have a brutal, beat the crap out of each other match inside that sucker, and it would work. Because this is just a glorified cage match. You can get away with it. But the Chamber, I'm just with you, people. It seems like they think they've got to come up with some stunt or something crazy, and dunk contest the same. Which there was a question. I'm going to switch gears to the basketball weekend. There was a question about whether or not the three-point contest replaced the dunk contest as the glamour must-see event. It's like, it did a long time ago.
Yeah, it's always been the one I'd rather see.
Me too. But as far as
I like the addition of the skills competition for the younger guys.
I like the skills competition too. I just hate the way that they do it. As far as
it's a little bit funky.
My problem with it is, okay, you run down and go through the weave, and then you complete the pass, then you run back down and hit a layup, and then you run back down and shoot threes. And I shouldn't say this because it would have affected Trey, and Trey got to the semifinals, finals, I think. I don't remember now. I didn't watch the whole thing. But anyway,
clips of it.
What makes me nuts is absolutely nothing matters to you shooting threes. Nothing. Because the point being that Luka Doncic proved it because he hit.
It's not even done for time or anything.
Well, that's the point, is that if you get through all that first stuff and then you're shooting threes, the guy can throw that sucker from anywhere. And if it goes down first, you lose. So my point is, if you're faster doing the weave, and then you're faster making the chest pass, and you're faster hitting the layup, and you get back down, you get to shoot till that guy comes up, and then once he comes to the line, you alternate. You can't throw a ball up and knock his out of the way. You can't just beat him to the punch. Screw that. I just think that there should be some benefit for being... I
just don't get the point of that.
Yeah, if you're faster at everything except hitting the three, then that's dumb. The only thing that matters is hitting the three.
So let's just make it a 3-point competition.
For real. It's just like, man, that just seems silly to me. I just think you should get something for being there first.
And they change the rules for that stuff all the time, so hopefully they'll improve on that, because that's terrible.
As long as your shot goes down first, you win. I'm like, that just seems kind of cruddy to me, man. Like, nothing else matters. You don't take like penalties for missing the pass. Like, nothing matters. That kind of stinks, man. But anyhow,
it should be a point system.
I would think that if you're tagging, if you take like not 10 seconds, that's too long. But if you get like a second added for every one of those passes you miss, or something like that, there's ways you can improve it. But that's my main thing is when you're racing to get to the 3-point line. If you get there first, you get your shot, and you can take him till homie gets in his box, and then you alternate. That's exactly the way it should be, because that's a good benefit, man. If you get there and you can get 2 shots off, great. But then you go back and forth. Because, I mean, I know they like the mid-air collision stuff. I'm like, oh, man, he got owned. They tried that junk in the rookie game. Ben Simmons goes up for this dunk, and boy, howdy. I love TNT, but my God, you want to talk about... It was going to be Ben Simmons or Luka Doncic, hell or high water. They didn't care about anybody else in that game. They did not care about anything. And everything Ben Simmons did... Frank Kaminsky, I think is who it was, man, had his pants around his ankles all night. It was unbelievable. Like, dude, there are other people playing. But he goes up for this dunk, and it looked like he got blocked. And Kaminsky is all like, well, I know it didn't go in, but that was almost a baptism. And then you put the replay up, and he did get blocked. And it's all like, well, you need to calm down. Primarily because at that point, John Collins had already hit the nicest dunk in the game. And the other thing that I don't understand was Trey's alley-oop to Collins that Collins hit for a 360 in that game. I have not seen that on any highlight reel anywhere, and it was freaking awesome. And I know I'm biased, but I feel very strong with what I'm about to say. Trey Young should have won MVP in that game. Oh, no, man. Kyle Kuzma had 35 points, and Trey had 25 and 10 assists. Let's just assume that all of his assists were 2-point shots and not 3-point shots. That's 45 points you're responsible for. And much more importantly, the first 3 quarters were very close. In the fourth quarter, when the game was decided, Trey Young was unequivocally the most important and best player. Maybe not best, because Trey's a different breed. But he was the most important player in that game that they actually wound up winning. Now I know the win and the loss doesn't really matter, but I was impressed. I thought he played great. Well, he didn't win the skills competition. Okay, well that's cool. It means you can go back and not talk about him. But I'm telling you, he was. I thought he was great. I was very pleased. And him and Collins just hooking up and doing their thing. Collins off the glass, and he was very impressive. The crap he did in the game is way better than the dunk contest, which his dunk contest stuff was okay, but they're just not good anymore. Yeah. So then, anyway, bouncing back, the last point about that, the 3-point contest, of course, is the featured event now because your stars in the league are 3-point shooters. Yeah, it's the whole thing. Like, this is my question. Like, well, do we have to see the 3-point contest? Is Steph Curry in it? Yeah. Okay, then yes, you do. And the whole point is, if LeBron was in the dunk contest, you know what it would be. It's just about where the stars are, man. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. And you got bigger names shooting threes now, so that's it.
It can be won or lost by the individual and not given to them by a judges.
That's something I've always liked about it better too. Is it's math. It's how many did you hit. You don't get like the wild card thing. You don't get the sexy buttercup Michael Jordan Chicago Stadium. None of that stuff happens. It's not an opinion. It's like you have to go win it. That's the reason that homeboy Steph Curry, who was supposed to school everybody, got eliminated in the first round. And I love Steph, but what can you say, man? So there's no question. Can't get huffy about it. Oh, bro, the judges just clearly let him get through. Like you said, ain't no judges. So that's good stuff, man. It's a long way around, but we're back to...
I'm still a nerd for All-Star weekends.
I love
them all.
I absolutely love them.
Except for the Pro Bowl.
Oh, God, that doesn't even count. Nobody likes the Pro Bowl. Mid-season ones. Your end-of-season All-Star crap you can keep. Nobody cares. But the... I always want to say futures, and that's baseball. The Young Stars or whatever it's called. That game was great. That was super fun. It's a little bit... There's a lot of James Harden going on, which I get. They're not like teammates. They don't know each other. You don't really expect the ball to keep constantly moving. But I mean, and I love Jason Tatum, but Jesus Christ, you want to talk about the black hole, man. His 0 on his jersey was the black hole. Because as soon as he got it, it was never leaving. It just wasn't going anywhere. And I'm like, I'm being dumb about that. There's a lot of people like that ISO stuff, and that's my whole thing about the dunk contest. Like, I'd replace the dunk contest with a one-on-one contest. You want people to lose their minds.
That would be tight.
They would watch that.
That would be tight.
Absolutely. Nobody cares about dunk contests anymore. But I know you'd have to make the purse unbelievable for people to be able to put their egos on the line. And the reason I say that is basketball's a crap-talking sport anyway, but especially with social media involved now, because people keep losing their mind. LeBron's just such a coward. He wanted to do the dunk contest. LeBron in the dunk contest is foretold. Because if he does not win, Jordan, Michael won one. And if he does win, the judges handed it to him. And that's the way it would go. Skip Bayless has already changed course. He's already out telling everybody. I mean, he's just, why won't he do it? The judges will hand him the trophy. And I'm like, see, you couldn't even wait for him to go do it, which I don't want him to do it anyway. I think that's dumb. But I just think one-on-one, it'd be hard to get people to do it. Because they don't want to put their ego on the line of the dunk contest. You get to blame the judges for that, like you say, man.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's, it's fun. It's fun to watch. I would like if the NFL would do more of like a... It seems like there for a few years they did a quarterback competition, but I think that was more like preseason on the beach stuff. But if they would do something like that, I think it would make the Pro Bowl a little bit more interesting because the game is kind of like whatever.
Yeah, the Pro Bowl game absolutely sucks. I think that All-Star Weekend for baseball and basketball are good, hockey as well, but they're really good examples, in my opinion, of, yeah, okay, we can do that. Where with the NFL, the relationship is so tenuous, and they all hate each other so much because they're not even, NFL players aren't even employees, they're property. So the second they're out from underneath the thumb, it's like F you NFL and F your extracurriculars and screw this and I'm not doing that, and it's just they don't do anything because they just get crapped on all year. So it's like, why am I going to do you a favor and I ain't even getting a trip to Hawaii anymore? Yeah. So I think that's where a lot of the animosity for that comes from, is that there's just like, I don't know you nothing. I survived this season. I'm going home. Where with the leagues that have strong player representation, I don't know if that's what it is, but they seem to be have a little bit more fun and okay guys, we can do this, we can have a good time and it'll be all right.
I think that would just be an improvement. Or like, let's not even play the game anymore. Just do a competition,
absolutely,
like that, and maybe it'll get some sort of interest going.
I feel the same way about the Pro Bowl that I feel about preseason. If you actually want people to show up, this is the whole thing. Every time, well, MLS Final had more people because the tickets are cheaper. Yeah, you're right. It's great. It works. Cheap concessions at MLS games, it works, believe me. So the point being that if you slash ticket prices and have a freaking autograph line, I promise you'd sell Pro Bowl tickets. You'd sell preseason tickets. You'd be fine, but you don't. And you can't do that because you can't ask those dudes to do any more than basically they have to show up, have to do X, Y, and Z, and ultimately you gotta answer reporters' questions. But that's it. As long as you cannot ask those guys as much crap as you take from them. Oh well, you owe it to the community. You owe it to the fan base. The NFL, the Players Association across the board is F the fan base. I don't care. I don't know you nothing. You want me to show up? Guarantee my contract. Yeah. You want me to show up? Make sure I get paid. That's really I swear that's the attitude, man. It's just, it is so. I'm not wild about the overuse of the word toxic, but caustic is the word that I would use. There's heat there, and they hate each other, man. So none of that positive stuff is going to happen. Because anytime NFL guys do anything for the community, it's on their own time. They're the one organizing it and doing. The NFL wants credit for it, but it's like, nah, it's not you, that's me. Yeah. Anyway, I got way sidetracked, but I do think it's interesting that Dunk Contest and Elimination Chamber are right here together, and it's like you're kind of out of ideas. Yeah. I like the idea of the tag team elimination being a gauntlet where everybody's out there, but you really would need a lot of time for that. So I understand that if you're not feeling that, I get it. If time constraints are a deal, I think that's a smart plan with the rep.
Yeah. It was Elimination Chamber weekend. It was All-Star weekend from Charlotte.
Woo, Charlotte!
And it was the Daytona 500.
500.
Which, don't have to waste anybody's time getting into. I'm talking about being a nerd for something that's, it was terrible. It's, it's one of those kind of races that gets down to the end. It's kind of like, well, this is going to be over.
Oh, man,
but
that's
it was big wreck after, we sit there for 20 minutes, which, I don't know, just something, as much as they try to act like, oh no, it's the big one, we didn't even see it coming. But some of these red flags, kind of, this man feels like you're milking this a little bit.
For real.
Because people got to sit around and wait for this stuff to be over with. I've invested this much time.
It's more ads. So.
And, that some of that stuff, it's like, we care about the safety. Talk about, BS ownership.
Bunch of bull.
We care about the safety of the drivers. We'll let them get out there and have another wreck, which happened just the second they started.
Of course, yeah, for real. As soon as they get going again.
Wow,
oh no, not again.
Oh no. Oh, no, back then.
That is from Applebee's.
So,
it's my favorite joke in Ricky Bobby. The commercial break during the wreck.
It ended with Denny Hamlin winning, which is cool and all, but just one of those kind of races was kind of like, all right, so that happened.
It was one of those races where, Denny Hamlin won eventually.
It was. We got there somehow.
Hallelujah, brothers and sisters. Promised land.
So, the other big thing going down this weekend that, nobody, it's not saying nobody cares about it. Not many people care about it. Listen to this, if you're even listening, is New York Toy Fair.
Yeah, baby.
But there's a little bit of sports related kind of interest when it comes to WWE Mattel stuff got revealed. There was, I can't. Hard to say revealed because a lot of the stuff that got shown was kind of we saw this months ago. Some of it at San Diego.
San Diego.
San Diego, and just the stuff that gets leaked throughout the year. Then you come to these big events, you're kind of like, that's all y'all got. Y'all suck.
For real. All right, man.
Let's see some more.
But Ronda Rousey. Yeah, it shouldn't be mean about it because that figure is awesome. I'm bummed about that set because it's like, seriously, you're going to do 2 at a time. And for the love of God, Ultimate Warrior's got to be one of them. And the reason it makes me mad is, A, I don't get it. And B,
you got to kick off every set, it feels like.
I guarantee you the next 2 that come out will be whoever they pick from the line and Macho Man. Because Macho Man and Ultimate Warrior, it is unbelievable how many. They must have like the sweetest of sweetheart deals with the families.
Yeah.
Because, man, they put those guys out in everything, and it's driving me nuts. That said, the Ronda figures.
After years of nothing, now they're everywhere.
Yeah, just way overdoing it. Way too many. Like, y'all, come on, man.
I think they're called Ultimates. I think it's going to be replacing the ring. They're the entrance grates, which need to be replaced.
That's a good idea.
But at the same time, as much as it kind of stinks that they're going to be slow to get them out. I'll probably have to pre-order them.
I can dig it.
Just because I dig the Ronda.
Yeah, it's excellent, man.
The look of it, and as much as I despise the match that they did the Ultimate Warrior from Halloween Havoc '98.
Yeah.
As much as I despise that match, I love that look so much.
Yeah.
I might have to get both of them. And to get both of them is so much cheaper than pre-ordering them individually. You might as well. And if God knows what's like having one of them, gets hot and sell the thing.
Always move the sucker along, man.
Yeah, so you got that going for you when it comes to pre-ordering some of the WWE stuff.
Yeah, I think my thing with a couple of things. One, I just don't like the guy, but I understand Warrior aesthetically. I get why it's like King Mabel. I have no interest in that figure at all, but aesthetically, I get it because who else you gonna do like that? Because apparently the Anoa'i family ain't coming off the Yokozuna imaging rights quite as easily. So whatever. But the thing with Warrior is like, okay, cool, bright colors, elaborate costumes, it's all good. When you gonna give Ray that?
Yeah.
I mean, Ray is sitting right there, and you can do one of him a month and never run out of junk to do. But I guess my other thing with the 2 a shot is you got to think. I mean, Austin's got to be. Well, maybe I don't know if they're still mad at each other or not. I shouldn't say mad at each other. I think he genuinely doesn't care.
Yeah.
But the fact that he doesn't say yes to every little hoop they ask him to jump through, I don't know if there's heat or anything. But it's maybe that will take a while. And Rock, they're not gonna. It's gonna be a while with him too. Yeah. So. I don't know, man. Cena, they'll do one of John. And,
oh Lord, yes.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, that's fine. But anyhow,
but at the same time, he's one of those dudes like they've done every possible.
Good God, no kidding.
Combination that you could dream of.
No kidding. So just because you have a new mold now, you want to do another one? I don't know, man.
It's because we can.
Well, he comes with 9 different shirts.
Yeah.
4 different pairs of tennis shoes. Oh, yeah. It's like, okay, man. Oh yeah.
That's my favorite impression now is slightly intrigued Vince. Like, oh yeah.
Slightly intrigued Vince.
You're selling me.
That's fine, man.
Keep going.
Get me on the hook, bring me in.
Oh yeah, pal. Oh yeah.
Reel me in, pal.
Daddy liked.
Yeah, Daddy liked that. Yes, he does.
But
is that Pat Patterson?
if there's one crappy thing to say about the Ronda getting bumped up to this set is that was supposed to be Asuka's spot. That was supposed to be the figure that was going to come out at WrestleMania in just a few months. But the good news is that figure is still supposed to be coming out. It's just you can't have Ronda's spot. So if there's one crappy thing about it to be said, it could be that. But nonetheless, I'll probably have to track it down and get it.
It's very cool. Like we said, man, as soon as they started making Rousey figures, it's like, well, wait for the ring gear. It'll be cool, and it is. It's cool looking.
It's already going to trump anything and everything that they've got coming down the line.
I agree. I think you're totally right.
So, but yeah, this wasn't as much as what I was hoping for as far as their stuff. The big news that I was kind of interested to hear about going into this toy fair was there was news about McFarlane getting the DC license.
Yeah.
But then the more you look into it, the more you kind of realize, like, who doesn't have a DC license? Everybody there had DC stuff going down. So it's kind of like, oh, well, I guess this isn't going to be as special as I thought. Now, he had nothing to show because as far as it goes with Mattel, they have the DC action figure license for the rest of the year until 2020. Maybe they'll have some stuff to be able to show, or at least images to show maybe around San Diego. Just have an idea of what's coming out. But I'm just excited just to see what he could do. Because I was a McFarlane dude from way back.
I still have a couple that I love, so I totally understand.
When he had the sports stuff kicking, he had some stuff that I really, really liked. Even the Spawn stuff. I mean, there was one here and there that I was really into. So people always would bitch and moan about the stuff not being that articulate, not having much articulation, but I don't gotta have all that.
I'm not wild about my stuff falling off the shelf.
Yeah.
But that bothers me, man. Like, that was one of the things with the old Marvel Legends where, you would get ankles and
47 pieces of articulation.
You'd wind up with ankles and feet and hips, like, especially if you collect the girls. Like, I had the old Scarlet Witch because I love that character, and that figure was one of the worst things I ever owned. First of all, the scale was ridiculous because her head was gigantic. She could not stand. She was just so emaciated and skinny that couldn't stand up, and it stunk. That's something I like about the newer Marvel Legends. They're a lot better about that.
Yeah.
But it's just like, sorry, I grabbed my phone because there's a couple of things that you mentioned. I'm like, I wanted to talk about that, man. My memory's getting so rusty that it's like, okay, I'm going to take notes. But yeah, man,
but just talking about the Marvel Legends, it gets to the point. I can't believe people still buy those. As popular as they are, like, what's there left? And I guess, I mean, you can do the movie stuff, but it hasn't been. It's been a minute since I've seen them do anything that I was like, oh, I gotta have that.
I think what's going on with the Marvel Legends is I got a buddy of mine named Matt who is all over all of them all the time, and Matt's a bit younger than we are, so I'm wondering if it's just a new crop, a new generation of people buying them, and that's something with like the newer characters, like the ones that I've seen that I love, like the modern, the new school Fantastic Four they did based off the Hickman stuff. Of course, I love because I'm a Fantastic Four mark.
That was good.
But the other stuff is more like, it's almost more like modern characters that I don't know about, but I know people like Miss Marvel, like the modern Miss Marvel, not Carol, but I don't know her name. I'm sorry, I don't know the character, but I know that book was monstrous for people that liked it, and that figure was off the chain. I would have bought it, but I always feel skeevy buying stuff if I don't know anything about the character, don't know anything about the book, but the figure was awesome, and that's something else about that particular line. Absolutely nobody, for my dime, history book wise, up till now, I have never seen a figure series with more women that are good than the Marvel Legends. They look incredible every single time, man. It's hard to explain exactly what it is, but man, they knock those things out of the park. Like I saw Songbird, and I love that, except that I'm hoping that eventually, I wish Mini Mates would do her because I love the idea of doing the West Coast Avengers, and I can't. Without Songbird and Tigra, it's like, well, I'm not even going to start this. But if they ever do those two, I'll go West Coast.
So when I heard that McFarlane was going to get the DC license to do figures, I mean, of course, the first image that popped in my head is like, of course, he's probably going to kick off with another Dark Knight Returns figure.
It wouldn't surprise me a bit.
Been done to death, and the ones that have come out are so good. Like, why even do that? Why even go there? And I have nothing to base it on other than just like, surely that's what he's going to do.
Yeah.
I would do something like Hush, but even at the same time, the DC Direct stuff, the Hush was so good. Like, I don't know if I would go that route either. They got so good, and people complain about the DC Direct figures. Well, they were kind of awkward when it comes to posing stuff, but they didn't really build them for all that articulation junk. But they got so good at doing book-specific artist specific stuff.
Yes.
That, I mean, he's really going to have to do something to improve upon it.
That's always been my thing with when you go to the stores and you see the DC like retail stuff. I'm totally with you. It's like DC Direct closed this out. They're done. I don't think that company will ever. I'm just with you. It's going to have to be impressive to me, primarily for the exact point that you said. And this is the whole thing about posing them and whatnot. Well, it depends on what artist stuff you're buying. Yeah. If you buy the Tim Sale Batman stuff, yes, they're hard to stand up because they're very lanky and kind of all over the place. But I think
they were really good at stands too.
Yeah.
So that's what if you use the stand they give you, you'd have a good time.
You're gonna have yourself a good time.
Yeah.
I think the only two that I've got left are All Star Superman and Lois because we're both Frank Quitely marks, and that story in particular is I don't know if it's my favorite DC story of all time, but it's definitely, it'd be in that conversation. Oh my God, All-Star Superman is so good, I can't even explain. And they're fine. They're just all, big-chested, and they just stand there, and I love them.
And the one, and talking about my man Frank Quitely, that is the one, I got into collecting the Batman black and white statues. That's the one that got away. That's the one that I need to have, and I would be satisfied with the ones that I have. I got the second edition Mike Magnolia with the circle emblem, and I'm glad I ended up with that one. For some reason, I just like that look better on that figure. You can Google it and check it out. And I got, talking about Dark Knight Returns, they did a Frank Miller, and I got that one. Got super lucky and got one for a good price because those were through the roof for a minute for some reason, but that Frank Quitely one, apparently a lot of people like it. And I'm one of them, and every time I find it, it's like through the roof, crazy high. And it's not one, because there for a minute they were re-releasing them with you had the first edition would come out with like the bat, and then you had the second edition with the oval. Well, this one had the crossed arms, so you couldn't see it, so there's no need to.
They can't do it.
It is getting re-released in a miniature. I guess they're going back and doing like kind of like a best of that series in a miniature. Like, I can't do a miniature.
I want that scale, you know what you want.
So hopefully, possibly, maybe that would get some of the others re-released, but I'm not doubting that. I'm not banking on that. I'm just hoping possibly maybe that set coming out will get some more of the statuettes on eBay that will possibly go down, or just give me something I can work with. Anyway, but if McFarlane is, because that's just where my mind went to when I first heard about it, is sure he's going to do Dark Knight Returns, but I just don't know that would be the one that I would come out of the gate with. I think it's been done so good a few times now. It's like, why do that?
I'm like that with a lot of the Batman stuff, a lot of the Superman stuff, and I know this is not a good suggestion, but it's what I would do. If I'm Todd McFarlane and I have the DC stuff, and if you have the run of the place, I don't know if he does or not. I don't know if you get all the rights or not. But I think
that remains to be seen.
Yeah, I think the place that you start is either Swamp Thing, or what I would do is Sandman. That's exactly what I would do, because they have never had a figure line for the Sandman that was worth a darn. I think there's Morpheus and maybe Death in DC Direct, and it's very early on. It's way before they hit their stride and found their groove. So I mean, it's not that they're okay, but I wouldn't need either one of them. That you could go buck wild with that stuff, and people would be all about it.
And neat. I think they'll get there. But it's one of those kind of things too, where it's like, you don't really know exactly what he's going to do. Is he going to do kind of like the Walking Dead figure line that he's had going for a minute? Is he going to do like that build a figure kind of stuff like that? Surely to God he won't do that. But who's to say he won't? I don't know exactly how much he has reign to work with, because there's another company that I'd never heard of before that has the actual. They were the first to get announced to be getting the license when Mattel lost it. But everybody kind of, when that was announced, like, this isn't going to work, because everything that this company had done was like, it was more for kids. And I think that's kind of what they'll keep going, like the little Justice Friends kind of playmate, Fisher Price looking stuff will be their part of the license, and his will be the DC figure stuff. And it did say figures of I think several different scales. And what I guess one of the downers, right as, and it's always right when a company's losing the license, like they really kind of show you what they could do. Like when the last two series of starting lineups were like super detailed and
nuts,
cool.
Yeah.
And some of the stuff that was going to come out, like of Hasbro's back in the day, he's kind of like, well, it didn't happen. But there's a series that's been coming out, and it's kind of, I guess it's kind of like a too little too late kind of thing, where I've only been able to find them at like GameStops, but it's called DC Multiverse, and it's straight up like Val Kilmer Batman.
Yeah.
They did the original TV series Flash figure. I've seen a few in Walmart, but they were like from the Aquaman movies. It's kind of like, who cares?
Yeah.
But there was a Linda Carter Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
So if he gets that much of the license to be able to do that, like, good, who knows what he could do? If he could do a Michael Keaton Batman, a Christopher Reeve Superman, that kind of stuff, that would be some ish.
Yeah, you're right.
And NECA got to do those a few years ago, but there were problems with them as far as like just being able to get them. So if he gets that much reign to play with, and I'll be interested to see what he can do with that.
I completely agree. That would be super cool. And it, of course, ties into, I was thinking about this the other day. I was washing dishes, and I just got so focused on this thought that I think I watched the same thing for like 20 minutes or so. But it's something that we've talked about forever, and it just cropped up in my head what the root was, and I still love the root. And it's just talking about the multiverse, and it's the idea that if you will just take the DC cinematic universe into a place where Linda Carter and Gal Gadot are in the same place, where Michael Keaton reprises the role, where you just get everyone that's ever played everybody in the same time stream.
People would lose it.
They would, and it's one of the things you can do that Marvel really can't do, and that's very cool. Is it's your own thing, and I think that's great. And the whole point, I just was reminded, the whole point of this is stupid. But I want Mark Strong to come back as Sinestro. He was so good. I understand that anytime you say anything positive about Green Lantern, it's all like, well, Green Lantern, it's a punchline in Deadpool now. That's great, because Ryan Reynolds, he gets to make fun of himself in Deadpool, and it's like, great, that's cool.
Ryan shows up and does his one character in every movie.
It's like, dude, have fun with that. But Mark Strong getting to reprise the role as Sinestro, I am all about. So I just want everybody thrown in a blender, and I'm with you. I just think people would flip. And I guess the reason I'm excited about it, or the reason I think that people would be excited about it, is if I can think of an idea that would get me to go see a DC movie, I think it would work. If you've had people going to watch them anyway, I think that, by God, the DC movie fan base deserves something cool. They've been this long suffering. They deserve something cool.
I mean, that's really one of the few things you can do that Marvel can't.
Marvel can't, absolutely. Even down to, we've talked about how the movie that I'm most excited about is Green Lantern Corps, and honest to God, man, every commercial I see for Captain Marvel, I'm like, well, they're going to beat you to that too, aren't they? I mean, seriously, even down to, I'm a little sick of you guys telling me what I can and can't do, and it's like, okay, so Carol is Hal Jordan, okay. And don't get me wrong, I'm very weird about the Captain Marvel movie. I'm very excited about it. I just hope they flesh that character out a little bit more. Don't get me wrong. She doesn't need to be Chuckles, because Carol's not a nice person. Carol Danvers, especially the modern interpretation of her, there is a reason that Katie Sackhoff from Battlestar Galactica wanted to play her so bad. Because if you've seen the modern Battlestar Galactica and then read the modern Captain Marvel, there is a whole bunch of Starbuck in Carol Danvers, down to the point that it's a prickly character. I mean, she's not exactly likable, just like Al Jordan's supposed to be. So it's like, yeah, man, test pilot who's got a real crap attitude and winds up in this cosmic police force with all the powers in the whole wide world. It's
Sounds
like,
familiar.
man, they're gonna beat you to this one too.
Yeah.
My goodness, they're gonna beat you to this one too. But what I'm hoping is that when you see the movie, I'm hoping for a couple of decent, fleshed out conversations, and just, I don't need Carol to be funny, and I don't need her to be likable. I actually will like her better if she's not likable, because Carol typically is not. But it's just, I don't need Logan. I don't need Wolverine. I need something a little bit more fun, a little more human, and that's the whole point with that character, is that as far as power set and abilities go, there's nothing she can't do.
Yeah.
The thing that, if you ever watched The Wire, this is my parallel between Captain Marvel and The Wire. They have that great scene where I'm pretty sure it's, for Pete's sake, Lester, and I want to say it's Bunk, but I know it's Lester. And they go to the captain and they're basically begging to get McNulty back on the police squad. And basically their point is, Jimmy McNulty is the best detective. He's the best we've ever seen at detective work. And as good as he is at detective work, he's equally bad at every other facet of being alive. Husband, terrible. Father, awful. Friend, just a complete loser. But he's great at this one thing. It's like, yeah, that's Carol. Yeah. That's them. And you don't have to make them likable. I don't need them to be funny or yuckety. We got plenty of those characters. I want to not like Carol, but I want to not like Carol for particular reasons. I don't want the reason I don't like Carol is because she's just boring badass. I don't need that. That's nah, man. Just flesh it out, and I'm hoping we get that, because, and at the same time, there's a good chance we will get that, because you don't want to put that in the preview.
Yeah,
I think you'll catch a lot more flies with the honey of, she's bad and she beats everybody up. I understand, as a sales pitch that does make more sense, but I'm hoping that you'll get a little of the human vulnerability, because the superhero, Captain Marvel's bulletproof. Carol's the one that's got the frailties, and I'm looking forward to it. I hope they do it, but it's just like, there's so much in that preview. I'm like, God, you're not even going to get to do Green Lantern Corps, are you?
Yeah.
Man, it just, they're going to be, if Kilowog shows up, I wouldn't be surprised. Mark Strong's in Captain Marvel, man.
I'm over here now.
That's right. Vince McMahon. Got me there, buddy.
Yeah.
Tell me about that, pal.
One of the coolest ideas I've heard of the one DC movie that I've heard pitched, so like that might get me back, or at least go see one more, is, if you're not going to do the multiverse, if you're not going to have all these worlds collide, and there are multiple Earths, and as Michael Keaton's walking into the frame, or then do Michael Keaton and put him as Bruce Wayne in Batman Beyond. I think that's probably the last thing that they could do. That'd be like, okay, I'll go check that out.
Oh yeah, man. It's, as much as I get on here and whine about nostalgia traps, if you have Keaton as Batman, I'll probably check it out, because I was so happy that besides Christopher Reeve, but at the same time, Reeve was great as Superman. He was, but it was years between Superman and Batman.
Oh yeah.
What started this snowball rolling down the hill and the avalanche, everybody knows, is Keaton's Batman. That's what started it. That's still the thing, and it's the reason that DC still suffers, because they are still operating in that same studio mindset, as opposed to, no, you need to let the book dictate it's just, that's why the Marvel crap works. Some people get huffy about that. It's too bad. It's the same conversation we have. People that don't want to like the Marvel stuff have made their mind up. Michael Jordan fans that don't want to like LeBron James have made their minds up. And it's the same thing with WWE fans and AEW. If you don't want to dig it, you're not going to dig it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, everything that we talk about, the differences between, DC is stuck in that studio system, Marvel's doing something different, this is why it's working so well for them. That's WWE and AEW, and my point being that if AEW really wants to go and sign a bunch of old retreads and be the new WCW, it's not going to work either.
Yeah.
The coolest thing they could possibly do is to just stay the course of new school and extend the tent, Ring of Honor on steroids, I say it all the time, and it looks like that's what they're doing, down to, the Lucha Brothers did not sign exclusively, and I did not expect them to, and I'm glad that I'm glad that AEW's in a spot like, no, we'll get you when we can get you. That's exactly the attitude they need to have.
Yeah.
Then Kenny Omega comes in and is all like, oh yeah, I'm looking forward to working with New Japan again. I'm like, well, if the executive vice president and 1/5 head honcho Kenny Omega's got an open door deal, maybe all of them do, and I love that. I think that's a good idea.
Do it.
But the idea of throwing a crap ton of money at Batista and people like that, which I think some of that, like we talked about, is just agent talk.
Yeah.
Batista's agent trying to get him a big paycheck. Randy Orton's people trying to all of that stuff is great. There's nothing wrong with that. That's exactly what they should do with that resource. So good for them.
Mm-hmm.
Infinite Earths, I like it. I like that idea. I wanted to, this is a complete like curveball, except we did just mention wrestling a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So this is something that's another note. Green Lantern was one note because I do every time I see Carol and the Corps just up there in their little jumpsuits, I'm like, God darn it, you guys aren't going to get to do this one either, are you? But there's a lot of talk, and this was my thing about the tag match tonight. I was really kind of hoping that the Iconics would win, because I was hoping that Bayley and Sasha could win them at WrestleMania and have that moment. And the reason I wanted that is because now I'm sure the tag belts will be defended on the weekend, but it's probably pre-show like every other tag match, except Shane. Yeah. You know, every other tag match, you've got the Revival, which is the best tag team in the world. I said it, Matt and Nick. Sue me. I don't care. I love the Young Bucks, but you got to be kidding me. I don't think there's any comparison at all, because the Young Bucks, I love them, but it's cool stuff, and they're good. But my favorite thing is when they get out there and sell, but they don't have to do that very often. Mm-hmm. The Revival are great every time I watch them. Yeah. I'd have Revival 1, Briscoes 2, which that's my whole thing about the open door. You know, you've had to listen to me whine about it for months. That's my whole thing about the open door in AEW is I want if there comes a time when, I know this is way off, but they're not, their contract's not up till 2020. Well, TV for AEW didn't start till October, so we're operating on a long scale here. Not everything is, they're going to be up and running before WrestleMania. No, they're not. But if you can get to a spot where the Revival,
sounds a lot more feasible when you think of it in those terms of like, well, that contract's going to be up soon.
Man, that's my thing. Is just people have got to stop operating where everything is happening yesterday or it doesn't count. Like, dude, I mean, we talk about that all the time. It's the same thing with, man, Paul George really stuck it to the Lakers. He showed that the Lakers can't sign free agents. That Paul George, he really showed that Magic Johnson. They said the same thing about Dell Demps about 48 hours before he got himself fired for turning that deal down. Yep. So it's like, Paul George, I don't care what anybody says, as good as he is, you are not going to give Paul George big money in the summer before Kawhi and KD and AD and Klay Thompson all become you're just not, because if you're ranking those players 1 through 5 and Paul George doesn't come in 5th, we greatly disagree. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, I got sidetracked. But that's my ultimate thing is I want Revival, Briscoes. Oh my God, that'd be so cool. But the question I wanted to ask you is all the talk about, well, Charlotte got inserted in that match because of her daddy, and it sucks, and now Asuka's got no one to wrestle. So I'm trying to figure out, who would you guys like to see Asuka wrestle at WrestleMania? I know who I would love to see her work. Here's my idea. Mm-hmm. Do you got anybody you want to see?
As you bring up Shayna to do it.
Thank you so much. Yeah. That's exactly what I thought too. Yeah. And I honestly thought, how cool would it be if you have Shayna Baszler with the NXT title and Asuka goes to the TakeOver show, and that's where they have the match. Because remember, Asuka never lost the NXT title. Yeah. So you've got like the new NXT champ against the eternal NXT champ, and the thing that would be cool about it is I would book Asuka to win that match, because then you've got the clear-cut springboard into Shayna's main roster debut. I don't want to lose her because I love her, but that would be awesome. And I love it because no one ever they're just pissing on Asuka. They're pissing on the belt, and they're not doing anything with Asuka. No one say anything about Asuka. They won't put Charlotte out there to wrestle Asuka. And what are they gonna do with Asuka? And I'm like, man, as crazy as everybody's going, and I love her too, but man, you can keep it all quiet. And man, if you could surprise people by having that song hit at the NXT show, I would lose my mind.
That'd be tight.
I completely agree with you. That's exactly the match.
There's nobody else I'd want to see.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same way, man. I agree with you completely. Is what I'm trying to say.
If you didn't do Asuka and Ember to death when it first came up and crapped all over that,
no kidding.
Then maybe that. But there's, one of the things that I think will be maybe there's analytics to prove otherwise, but I just think going back to brand specific shows would be a benefit. But that's another discussion.
No, I completely agree.
But because the second I said Amber's like, well, was she even on SmackDown? I can't keep it all straight.
I can't either.
It's just, but when you think about just who's on SmackDown now and Asuka being over there, it's like there's a whole bunch of nothing I want to see that I can think of.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
See her and Carmella.
No, I'm with you. There's nothing. I love that idea. And also, like we've talked about, man, with the tag match and stuff like that, you got to start thinking about how many matches are going to be on this thing. Because, yes, WrestleMania is 9 hours, but it's 5 matches. Yeah. I mean, they take, the video packages take forever. And also, Shane's got a match, so that means that's half an hour right there, because God knows they ain't going to cut his ring time for nothing, man.
That's the other thing. They're probably working towards Shane and the Miz, because the Usos got the tag titles back.
Okay, now
I
think
news. That was pre-show stuff, though.
Yeah, I'm glad that they
if
awarded.
I remember right.
Well, if Shane lost, I'm sure it was. Yeah. But I'm glad the Usos got the belts back for wanting to fight cops. That's a great message. Good job there, Vince. But at the same time, I despise Shane and the Miz so much. I throw them in a match together. That will be my pizza toilet half hour.
Yep.
That sounds great to me. I was hoping that's what they were going to do. That's very good, because I don't need... Oh, thank God. I'm glad you told me that, because holy crap, what a waste of time. And at the same time, how hilarious that you're balancing out your tag teams by having the best tag team on earth with the red belts and this stupid conglomerate chuck together garbage with the blue belts. Okay.
Yeah. So that as much as I said there wasn't going to be any channels changed hands, I guess a few did.
It's okay.
But just nothing of any consequence.
Not to affect the main event picture at Mania. I got you, man.
But I mean, but as far as the whole Charlotte and Rousey thing, it feels like that was written in the stars.
See,
before the end of WrestleMania last year.
I could not agree more. I cannot believe and don't get me wrong, like the whole, Charlotte Flair being put in that match is the most disliked WWE video upload on YouTube of all time. I'm like, how many of those 7 million dislikes do you think are employees? Mm-hmm. Why does anybody take that stuff seriously?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, if I want to run up likes on this video, I'll just create a crap ton of different accounts and give us an upvote. Don't believe any of that stuff. And the main thing you don't want to believe is the downvotes, because that counts as a view. It doesn't matter.
It's saying something.
It doesn't matter. That just drives me crazy. But yeah, everybody really taking it so hard that Charlotte, and I guess it's because, I don't know, we say it properly. I believe it's proper to say added to the match. Yeah. I am totally with you. Like Charlotte, Ronda, you pegged that junk a year ago, and it was like, dude, as soon as you said it, it's like, absolutely it's what they're going to do. And now all of a sudden, this is Becky's moment. She deserves her moment. Charlotte's getting in there with her moment. It's like, well, first of all, you're mad because this happens all the time, right? Yeah. Well, that's continuity. Believe it or not, WWE can do it right every once in a while. They got a little continuity there, and that's cool. But the main thing that drives me crazy about this is, I don't know why everybody hates Charlotte so much, simply because Charlotte, to me, is the complete opposite of Alexa Bliss, where I don't like Alexa Bliss because I don't like her matches. Yeah. Charlotte, I don't give a damn about the character stuff, or, she just gets shoved down her throats, and she's overpushed, la-di-da. See, I'm like that with Shane and Randy Orton. Yeah. I'm as sick of those guys as I could possibly get. But Charlotte's matches are real, real good. So I'm totally okay with her having a WrestleMania main event. But everything I just said is completely beside the point, because the point is, Becky needs somebody to beat. She needs somebody to beat. Becky, let's compete Ronda Rousey. Okay, Mark, calm down. It's a work, for God's sake, and that's the whole point. Is Ronda's leaving after WrestleMania. All the more reason to not have her eat that pen.
Yeah,
come here, you eat that pen, girl. It's like, why would you do that? If you want to do business with her in the future, you're not going to send her out on her back. That's just, you're not going to do that, because then you've got to, again, we talked about if you want to springboard Shayna to the main roster. God, I do hope they do that. And see, it's that thing that we've been friends for too long, but it's still very exciting. We're on the same page about stuff. I completely agree. It's like, I know exactly, Asuka gonna wrestle him. I know exactly what I want to see Asuka wrestle. That would be awesome. So I'm totally with you.
Tear it down.
But I do love the idea of that being on the TakeOver show, so they can have more time.
Yeah.
But that was my whole deal with like the tag match. I was really kind of hoping the Iconics would, or the Riot Squad. I would have been fine with that too, because I'm really happy that Ruby got a championship match tonight. I know everyone knows she didn't have a shot, and I get that. So, and that was I had a conversation online about, I was explaining why I was excited about it. Don't get me wrong, if you're turned off by it because you know she's not going to win, I get that.
Yeah.
I totally understand that. But I'm happy. She's a good worker, and I'm glad she got that nice big check.
It's nice for them to do it just to say that they did.
Sure. Yeah, you get a main event or a title match check. That's great, man.
Yeah, the match was definitely forgettable and not anything that anybody didn't expect. But it was just in a kind of an excuse to get Ronda out there and Charlotte ringside for Becky to show up and beat the hell out of both of them and
spray beer.
Yeah. Let's do the whole
spray McGinnis. That'd be awesome, man. That would be cool, actually. If they want to go full on Becky 316 ever try McGinnis truck into that would be cool, man.
You can take it from me.
Yeah, right. Let's go by fight.
That's what we were saying last week. It's like, man, you're gonna put. It's not to say that Becky wasn't as hot as people could foresee Becky getting this hot. Just the fact that it actually happened was kind of quicker. I think a little bit fast tracked than definitely the WWE thought or anybody else thought.
Oh, if anybody,
for them to acknowledge it, I think was kind of that was. I'm not surprised that they got to that point to even remotely hint at her being in the match.
That's a huge plus. I think that's a huge plus. And that's my whole thing is like, if you want this thing to headline, and I do, I know we both do. If you want it to headline, Ronda A has to be. That's everybody's all mad at Jim Ross for, well, women want headline WrestleMania, but Ronda Rousey. It's like, he's right, y'all. I mean, Vince McMahon, above all things, is obsessed with crossover media. It's why Miz is Miz. Because, well, he was on that MTV show. Oh, yeah, I'm really excited me. That's it. Any outside media, anything that's not Meltzer, anything that's not wrestling, Vince gets whatever's left of an erection after all the steroids he's taken. That's what gets him off. That's what he's excited about. So when you sign Ronda Rousey, the idea of the inside track to the main event of WrestleMania is it's a possibility. And of course it's going to be Charlotte Flair, whether you like it or not. And yes, that does have a lot to do with her last name. But she's a great worker. Her ability is fantastic. So there's also that. And the fact that you're even going to get a third, I think is great. You're not booking either one of them to win. That's awesome. That's something else too, where I want to, doff my cap to Ronda for being upfront about how, man, I think I might want to have a kid. I don't know if I'm going to re-sign that contract or not, because let's be blunt, if Ronda Rousey was re-signing a contract, I'm pretty sure she's walking out of WrestleMania with that title. So this is great that it opens up an opportunity. I shouldn't say opens up an opportunity for Becky, because Becky being as over as she is awesome. I mean, I don't know how to say it without being a complete hipster prick about it, but we love Becky Lynch and have for a long time and have known just how good she is. So I guess my point is I'm glad that she's doing that character now that so many other people are into, because now all of us are on the same page that Becky Lynch is the hottest thing in women's wrestling, and that's awesome. That having been said, she's the hottest thing in women's wrestling. I think it's great, but all the people that are like, no, she deserves to headline WrestleMania and walk out with the title, I wish that was the world we lived in. I wish that deserve was enough. But that's just not where you are. I think Samoa Joe deserves better than just getting RKO'd to pieces and getting beat every week, but he doesn't get it. But anyway, and I hate that it's like that, but it's like that. The crossover appeal of the name Flair and Ronda Rousey, that's going to be that main event. The fact you even have a third in it tells you just how great Becky's doing right now. And also, I think she's going to be booked to win it. But that, again, goes back to why you need Charlotte in there, man. And it's great because now not only can she win, but it can be clean as a whistle. And that's great.
So that's at least something to look forward to.
I think so. I'm excited about that show. Obviously, I didn't get up for the one tonight because I'm an idiot. But I need to. I think my free trial is still going on, so I might go home and watch the women's tag match just because I'm with you. I'm excited because it's, I don't know if it's history, but I just love tag wrestling. But I don't know. I'm thinking that knowing who the Final Four are, I'll at least like that part. It'll be fun to go home and watch that because I think the Riot Squad's just very, very cool.
Heck yeah.
And it's cool. It's cool for Becky and Sasha. I'm happy they got them, but I was kind of hoping they would do that at WrestleMania. And the whole idea was, and this was breaking it up, but it's like, how cool would it be for Becky to win the main event and Charlotte wins the SmackDown title, and then you've got the four of them doing the curtain call at the end of the show. I'm like, that's a great idea. I like it, but I just think that Charlotte, you got to have her for that main event. It's a cool idea, but anyway, it's all Peaches and cream, baby.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, man.
That's what's up.
Take it easy, y'all.
Ah.